Hi, everyone, and welcome to our latest edition of Financial Services Tech Oracles. I'm Jerry Murphy, your host. Normally, I know you see John Johnson, but we have a special guest today. I'd like to introduce Dave Hanrahan. He's been a good friend of mine for years. He's currently the CEO of Century Savings Bank in New Jersey. And I also want to issue you congratulations. Dave was just recently appointed to the Philadelphia Fed on one of the committees. So congratulations for that. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you very much. All the Fed banks have community depository institution advisory councils, that's a mouthful, from which they gather local intel on local conditions. It's such smart and important work the Fed does to get firsthand input from the field as it's making its decisions. And I'm honored to be giving some South Jersey community bank perspective.
And that's great. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually Dave's second CEO job. Before this, he was also the CEO of a Capital Bank in New Jersey. So he's got a lot of experience, and the Fed's absolutely very lucky to have you, Dave. So that's great. Now,
thank you.
Dave was initially concerned about this talk I was doing today because he's like, hey, I'm a CEO of a bank. I'm not really a tech guy, but he is a financial guy. And the issue today that I wanted to bring up was security and talking about a bank and financial security from the CEO's perspective. Now, it's obvious to many people, and I'm sure to Dave as well, that security continues to be a huge and growing issue. Of course, one of the challenges, especially on the community bank side, is what can I afford to do? And on the one hand, your IT people are saying, I need to do this, I need to do that, we need to do testing. So I'm just wondering, from your perspective, how do you see the importance of security in your bank, and how do you, as a CEO, balance what people are asking you to do, what the board's asking you to do, what your staff is asking you to do, with what you have to do for your fiscal responsibility of running the company?
Sure, Jerry. Thanks for having me on. When Jerry says I'm not a tech expert, that's the understatement of the year right there. You wouldn't be wrong to call me a Luddite when it comes to technology. So I did have some apprehensions about being on your event here, but it's extremely important to channel Donald Rumsfeld. I feel like I've got both known unknowns and unknown unknowns when it comes to this stuff. And there are so many other aspects of what we do as bankers that, there's areas of risk, but I feel very adept at figuring out that risk. When it comes to the loan decisions we make and credit risk, I'm pretty good at underwriting credit risk. We take interest rate risk, and we can model that, and that's mathematical. A little bit of math, a little bit of psychology goes into that, and we can figure that out. But cyber risk, I'm as lost as a ball in tall grass on that subject. So to answer your question, the way I try to approach it, right or wrong, is to devote plenty of resources to it. I can tend to be cheap in the way that we run our bank, but that's an area we're not cheap in. Devotion of resources, smart people, and then lots of checkers to look at the way we're doing it. Banks have periodic examinations by the regulators, and that's not always a pleasant process to go through. But when it comes to cyber risks, our regulators are on the exact same page as we are. We all want to protect bad things from happening to the bank. And I'm grateful when the FDIC, with its team of smart IT examiners, comes in here to poke and prod, because I'd much rather them find a chink in my armor than have a bad actor find a chink in my armor. So outside exams are helpful. Internal audits are helpful. Independent contractors are helpful. And through a combination of those things, throwing appropriate human resources and money at it, that's how we try to make sure we're doing the right stuff.
That's great, Dave. Now, you said something a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I actually want to drill on this for just a second, because I actually think it's an important issue. You kind of kid around that you're a technical Luddite, and that might be true. But, I don't think you're alone with a lot of financial managers who have lots of financial experience. Your clients, you may even know your clients' businesses, but you get scared and you maybe just don't know about all the technical details of, identity management and all of the, what's going on with firewalls and what's going on with zero trust architectures and all these kind of things. Your IT guys may know that stuff. They probably know that stuff. Some of the vendor partners they bring in know that stuff. This is an important question to me, Dave. What would these guys have to talk to you about these issues? What is it you would like for them that would, in the way they communicate to you, to make you feel more comfortable understanding the issues they present to you? And I think this is important because I think a lot of technical people, and you know this, you and I have known each other for a long time, I have this tendency to get technical, which is not, I might be accurate, but it's not necessarily helpful to you as a business manager. What is it that you would like to see from your security and IT staff that could better communicate these issues to you that would make you feel comfortable in understanding them that they maybe don't do?
So I am very fortunate to have a CIO who not only is technically adept and who has worked for this company for 16 years, so he knows our systems inside and out, and he cares, and he works hard. In addition to all of that, he's also an effective communicator, and he doesn't talk at me in a bunch of ones and zeros. I was out with him having beers 2 nights ago where we talked about strategic IT level stuff and how to better incorporate IT strategy in the way that we operate this institution for years and years to come. He's a very effective communicator. He helps dumb it down to my level. I think your point's a valid point, though. I think my CIO may be the exception to the rule. Other CEOs may not have that same luxury of somebody who can communicate effectively to a Luddite like me.
And what would you suggest that IT people do to get better at that communication?
So I don't think that it's fundamentally different for an IT person than it is for a chief lending officer who, for example, needs to be able to explain to me and my board of directors where the risks lie in a certain transaction, or that it's fundamentally different for a asset liability or balance sheet strategist to communicate with me or the board on ALCO, interest rate, risks. Those topics can be very arcane, very detailed, and I need leaders in different areas who can hold their weight toe to toe on the details, but then know how to talk about it and effectively communicate it at a different level. It's the same across disciplines.
Right. Hey, I really appreciate it, Dave. That's some great insight, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to talk to us here. And good luck on your new Fed appointment. And I wish you the best of luck. And thanks again for taking your time, Dave.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. It's great to hang out with you for a few minutes, Jerry.
All right. Take care, Dave.